When the world first met Star Wars in 1977, it began with a promise: a battle between good and evil, a princess on the run, and the mysterious theft of secret plans. That infamous opening crawl from A New Hope moved quickly past the details, just enough to set the stakes, never lingering on the pain behind Rebellion's greatest act. Decades later, Rogue One and Andor drag that footnote into harsh daylight. They show us the battered faces and flickering resolve behind the word hope. And in doing so, they quietly reforge the entire emotional foundation of the original trilogy. But the power of these newer stories isn't just in their narrative, it's in their shadows, their lens flares, their battered armor, the color and silence of dying suns. It's in the way the camera lingers, the world feels lived in, and the battles leave scars not just on the body, but on the soul of the galaxy. Before Rogue One, the theft of the Death Star plans was little more than a MacGuffin, an inciting incident, never a story in itself. The first time we saw Princess Leia, she was already running, the blueprints clutched in desperate hands. Rogue One changes everything. It opens not on hope, but on oppression. Imperial boots crushing alien soil, families torn apart, the cold mathematics of survival. Director Gareth Edwards leans into handheld shots, grey palettes, wide angles that emphasize isolation. The visual grammar is grim, almost journalistic. We're not in a myth anymore, we're in a war movie. The significance is subtle but profound. It frames the rebellion as a movement, born not out of heroism, but necessity. Each act of resistance carries consequences that ripple through every frame. Andor takes this even further, focusing on the years that chisel Cassian into the man we meet in Rogue One. The series is meticulous in its design. Industrial lighting on Ferrix, sickly neon in Coruscant's underbelly, and the sterile, blinding light of Narkina 5's prison. Every environment tells a story about power, control, and resistance. The lighting is never functional. It's oppressive, claustrophobic, sometimes almost clinical. Cassian is a product of his world, and so are we, forced to inhabit spaces where hope is as rare as sunlight. The use of low angles and reflective surfaces, grime on windows, puddles on the street, puts the audience in Cassian's shoes, always searching for an escape, rarely finding one. When Cassian kills an informant in the first moments of Rogue One, it now feels inevitable, a culmination of all the moral compromises and desperate choices seen in Andor. What once seemed cold-blooded now feels like survival. Rogue One occupies a unique place in the Star Wars canon. It's the missing link, a story that not only explains but enriches. Suddenly, the original trilogy's stakes feel real. Every moment on Scarif is shot with a shaky, immediate style. Gunfire rakes the sand, bodies hit the ground, smoke curls in the wind. The camera rarely pulls back. Instead, we're with the characters, suffering with them, seeing the galaxy through their weary eyes. The film's color palette is carefully desaturated. Blues, grays, earth tones, highlighting the weariness of war. It's a far cry from the gleaming starships and clean halls of the Death Star in A New Hope. When the camera finally does widen, it's to show the enormity of what's at stake. The Death Star, a shadow on the horizon, dwarfing everything beneath it. In A New Hope, the plans are a victory. In Rogue One, they are a requiem. The film's most powerful moments are often its quietest. The brief, wordless glances between Jyn and Cassian as the world ends, the desperate last-minute transmission. The sound design is stripped down. Music gives way to the distant roar of destruction or the frantic clicking of data tapes. The lighting here is critical, natural, orange, harsh. There is no glass, no glamour, just the cold reality of what it takes to give someone else a chance at hope. Every frame feels like an epitaph, not a triumph. It's in these moments that Rogue One reframes a new hope. The hope Leia speaks of is no longer abstract. It is bought and paid for dearly. When a new hope begins, it does so literally moments after the end of Rogue One. The panic on the Tantive 4, the urgency in Leia's voice, the chaos in the halls, all of it now has context. We know who died to make this possible. We've seen the cost. What once felt like a clean handoff now feels like the final leg of a relay. The baton is slippery, covered in blood. The stakes are clearer, the loss deeper. Leia's calm determination, Luke's wide-eyed innocence, Han's cynicism, they all mean something more because we now understand the shadow of sacrifice hanging over every action. Both Rogue One and Andor lean heavily into a lived-in look. Director Gareth Edwards and Andor's creative team under Tony Gilroy fill their worlds with tactile detail. Rust on doors, dirt on boots, the flicker of malfunctioning lights. The sets are often practical, lit with real lamps or sunlight filtered through dust, creating a sense of authenticity that's rare in modern blockbusters. Camera movement is often purposeful and restrained. Long takes linger on faces, watching, thinking, mourning. Action is chaotic, but never incoherent. Instead of cutting to spectacle, the camera stays grounded, letting us experience confusion and fear as the characters do. Even color has purpose. Cold blues and washed out grays dominate the Empire's world. Warm, broken sunlight fills moments of rebellion. Hope, when it appears, is visualized in literal beams, shafts of light breaking through dark rooms, a visual shorthand for the emotional state of the characters. Music and sound design in Rogue One and Andor are instruments of mood, not just background. Michael Giacchino's scores borrow Williams' themes but distorts them. Minor keys, slower tempos, sudden stops, the moments of silence after a death in the eye of a storm are as heavy as any note. In Andor, silence is used to amplify tension, the sound of boots echoing in a prison, the distant alarms on Ferrix, the quiet just before the TIE fighters arrive. Every moment is engineered to make the audience lean in, to feel the dread and anticipation pulsing beneath the action. Andor gifts us with a deeper understanding of rebellion's cost. Mon Mothma's political maneuvering, Luthen Rael's willingness to sacrifice innocence, Saw Gerrera's uncompromising militancy are all framed with care and ambiguity. They're often lit from the side or behind, faces split between light and dark, emphasizing the duality of their choices. Gone is the binary morality of the original trilogy. In its place is a spectrum of compromise, heartbreak, and defiance. The rebellion is not a monolith. It's a patchwork of agendas and traumas, united only by desperation. This complexity now ripples forward into A New Hope. When the rebels meet on Yavin 4, when Leia leads, when Han hesitates, it's impossible not to see the echoes of those sacrifices and secrets revealed in Andor and Rogue One. Leia's hope, once the stuff of simple fairy tales, is now complicated, hard-earned. When she says hope, it's no longer just a word. It's a torch passed from hand to hand, never carried lightly. That's the greatest gift of Andor and Rogue One. They force us to look again at the stories we thought we knew, to see the pain and perseverance beneath the legend. Through careful lighting, restrained camera work, and raw human performances, they remind us that hope is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to act in spite of it. This is what great storytelling does. It casts old tales in new light, asks us to reconsider what matters, and makes legends feel personal. As the sun sets on Scarif and rises on Tatooine, we understand every victory is paid for, every hope hard won, and the Star Wars galaxy, once a place of clear heroes and villains, is richer and more human than ever before.